Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for watching this special Patreon presentation. We have just got done interviewing Mike from around the world for the webinar, and it's fascinating. It'll blow your mind. He's left me with so many things to think about conceptually and to concern about. Even one thing, we got disconnected. He went a little too far, okay? And the powers that be, Big Brother, said, nope, no further. But join us now is Mike from around the world. And Mike, part of what you talked about in this presentation, and I'd like for you to go a little further in it, is the word betrayal and betrayal as a concept globally.
Yes.
Your thoughts?
Well, Pastor Paul, we have a lot of the normalcy, even in this this back and forth in the Middle East with Israel and Hezbollah and Hamas and Russia and all these players, that there are people behind them who no longer agree with leadership. Russia was one of the big examples. There's an entire group behind Putin that does not agree, obviously, with his direction and things.
Okay.
These guys are a bit more ruthless than he could ever be. He's normally a collected person. He's not, he does what he does, but he's not caused a global, catastrophe yet. But these guys behind him, those who are appointed underneath him and around him, are seeking to usurp him, to take him out, to utilize his authority to do what they want to do. And this same thing is happening. I would go so far as to say it's also happening in Israel, which means the chances of these guys being taken out is increasing every single day. And the folks underneath them are not going to be as reserved as they are.
No.
Especially in Russia's case, the failed RS-28 missile, but a lot of people saw some of the propaganda on the internet. Yeah. They saw that it failed. Most of what they ascertained, they did from satellite, but there are people underneath Putin who want the West to die immediately. If they get their hands on the all of the nuclear controls, right? There's going to be trouble, big time trouble. I believe that people are trying to usurp Putin's power right now to go around him, to get control of some pretty vicious weapons, and they will not hesitate to use them immediately. I believe that same thing is happening in the Middle East. I also believe that same thing is happening in Iran. Okay.
Oh, really? An uprising to get rid of the Ayatollah.
Yeah, I believe that same thing is happening there too. Which is why Iran pulled, they tried to negotiate. I'm sure that everybody saw where Iran tried to open the table back up to negotiations to nuclear talks.
Yeah, I see that.
An attempt to stall Israel, right? Because if they have talks, then of course Israel has to be stalled. They did this before. Hopefully we don't fall for it this time, because Israel understands it must continue. However, there are people underneath Benjamin Netanyahu that absolutely disagree with what he's doing.
Yes.
And I do ultimately suspect, and I hate to say it, but the betrayal is going to be so deep that Benjamin Netanyahu could be, he could actually be stopped from within. And at that point, Israel will have no true defenses.
He's the last line.
At that point, we all know what happens. That's right. When he's gone, Israel won't exist as the Israel everybody knew it to be. He understands that he's fighting for the life of that country, and that he, evidently he has his heart is in it. He has risked his life for it more than once, but there are people who want him out of the way so that Israel can begin to manage what they have put in place with the Palestinians already.
Yeah.
Without him in place, they'll divide that land in the same day.
Yeah, and the UN will bless it, I think.
Yeah, they've appointed managers for the rebuilding of Gaza.
Wow.
Israeli managers for the rebuilding of Gaza. They have the maps. Everything is there. The allotment of money from the international community to nation build Gaza through Israel. Israel would be in charge of building up Gaza and integrating all portions of it into, its own little section there.
Right.
So the land is already mapped out, and the people that are underneath Benjamin Netanyahu are in agreement with it. They're already in agreement.
So they're saying the only way to peace, they've bought in the ideology that a two-state solution is the only option. Harris is saying that every day. The UN basically 95% says the same thing, and probably 40% of the Israeli population actually think that as well, because they're so tired of sitting in their bomb shelters every day. Okay. What about, between Putin, Netanyahu, and Trump, who's the most danger of assassination right now?
That would be Trump. My goodness, Trump would be one of the biggest ones. He'd be one of the biggest ones.
Because he's probably the strongest to fight for a world that we're used to, a stable world.
Yeah, he also has, whether people believe it or not, he still has a value system based in the Christian faith.
Yeah, of course.
So he does not accept all the other radical ideas. He understands that will tear down this country.
Yeah.
And so he leans towards Christian views a lot, right? Unfortunately, we're going to find out one way or the other what people want. But we're going to find that out. It looks like Benjamin Netanyahu, they don't want him there at all. That they're making a pretty public. They're making that pretty public. And Putin, of course, he has to hold on to power. If Putin does not hold on to power, there are elements within Russia that will destroy the West in a heartbeat. And they have the technology to do so. So, we are in those times. All this could literally change any day now. Any day, one of those guys could be gone.
Oh, yeah.
And on that same day, the whole situation that we're in would change.
Any of the three. If any of the three get eliminated from the stage, world stage, everything's going to change. If Harris gets elected president or selected president, or Trump gets eliminated one way or the other, that's going to change the world stage. If Netanyahu gets pushed out, that's going to change it. If Putin goes down, that's going to change it. Big time. Any of the three is what you're saying.
Yeah. And we're talking about real physical consequences too. So the America, for example, our defense net is up. I mean, it's up and operational. So that's a pretty hefty system. Right?
Yeah.
Those early warning systems are up. We have extra watches on certain things. Patrols have been doubled up and everything else. There are nuclear birds in the air right now, and they're on continuous glide these flights to make sure that we can counter anything that ever comes.
Nuclear
because
birds.
We live in those times.
So
yes,
they're in the air. I mean, to counter a nuclear missile. Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's an expensive operation. That goes with the defense net, which means if anybody launches a nuclear weapon, we have warning systems, we have methods, and they will employ those methods against that, and then they will eliminate the origination point of said nuclear weapon.
Well, Trump said he wants,
for that reason.
Trump said he wants an Iron Dome completely over America. Do we already have that?
We have a defense net. They don't. I don't believe he for somehow he knew about some of it, not all.
Yeah, he had to know about some
not all of it. But maybe he wants it. There is hypersonics were introduced, and you cannot intercept a hypersonic with another missile. You have to do that with a laser.
Okay.
And I believe that Israel and the USA have been working for about 2 years on a laser system that can intercept hypersonics. Hypersonic, if, for example, if somebody started launching hypersonics at Israel, they would have no defense against them.
Yeah.
I know for a fact that Iran has they have at least 6,000 hypersonic missiles. They have not used them.
Okay.
They have not used them, and that's a huge threat, because there's no way to stop those missiles. Same thing with Russia. Russia has 6,000 nuclear warheads.
Yeah.
That are fast-flying birds, and they have an additional 14,000 hypersonic missiles on standby. So Russia has an arsenal that could be quite devastating to any country at all. But here we are in those days where everything could change in a heartbeat, and very soon we will entertain 70,000 people are going to be gone. They're just going to be gone.
That number, is that a city somewhere? Where is that number coming? Is it somewhere in Europe, somewhere in the Middle East, or somewhere here in the West?
That'll be in at or around the UK.
Okay.
They really should watch everything they're doing. Really should watch, and everybody else, while we're going through this wartime situation, people better get ready to handle fires. Wartime brings fires, Pastor Paul, and it will swallow everything. Everything will be engulfed in flames. I think that sometimes we forget about that. Lebanon, for example, it will be absolutely, totally burned up in a very short time.
Yeah.
And the fires have already begun.
Yeah.
That will continue. That could easily happen to other nations who have, they have that same type of conditions around them. That could also happen in Germany. That could also happen in the UK. Of course, in the UK, I suspect they're going to have a nuclear problem pretty soon.
That's why you're saying that there's some kind of a plot or some kind of plan to use some type of a tactical nuke or something to take out 70,000 people.
Well, if they, for example, they have nuclear power plants.
Yes, right? Yes.
If they melt down any of those nuclear power plants, that's 120,000 people dead right there on the spot. They'll be poisoned. And there is no curing.
No.
Once you're exposed to a certain doses of radiation, that's it. It's cumulative. You start going downhill pretty quick, and that'll be 70,000 dead. So they really need to watch, because they have the most vulnerable. They have vulnerabilities that they really can't protect from. They haven't faced anything like that in a long time, and so a lot of times we have this false sense of security because we haven't dealt with it. It's not going to happen.
It's been a generation. It's been a generation. Winston Churchill's long gone. The bombs that fell in London, the days of Adolf Hitler, the people who lived in that era, pretty well all gone now. This generation alive doesn't know. They don't know.
No, they don't. No, they don't know. And they have the greatest sabotage threat over there right now as we speak.
Well, betrayal's the word. And I'm hearing you say there's a lot of places that betrayal is being worked. And so
I suspect it'll start. Pastor, I suspect it'll start more than likely that those type betrayals will start in a couple days. I think it'll begin that soon. That's my estimation on that. Yeah, I believe things will start changing in a couple days.
All right. Well, we'll keep our eyes wide open. That's for sure. Mike, thank you so much for taking time out here to give us a little bit of a heads up on this video. And of course, folks, you don't want to miss Mike's entire presentation on the webinar, October Surprise. Thanks, Mike, so much.
Pastor Paul, God bless you.
God bless you, Mike. Thank you so much. I'll see you in a couple days. God bless.
All right. God bless.